Okay, so how does a data center infrastructure service provider increase sales? So how can a company that is a infrastructure service provider in and around the data center ecosystem increase sales? Well, there's a bunch of different ways to do this, but first and foremost, we need to get a lot more specific about why, WHY. Why are we trying to increase sales? Well, that's easy, right? More revenue is good, growth is good. Is it? Because the it depends is all revenue created equal? In other words, are all of the sales to all of your clients equally valuable? Or are there some clients that are way more valuable because it's more profitable, it's a shorter sales cycle, more favorable payment terms, it aligns more closely with our priorities that we're making in our research and development and product roadmap for the next 6, 12, 18 months because they're great logos, great reference counts, whatever it is. So let's first dispel the notion that all sales are good sales, because especially if you operate in a commoditized portion of the digital infrastructure ecosystem, which now I would likely characterize as like single location and one or two location co-location operators that don't have a vertical focus. A lot of them sell really, really small deals where they literally can't afford traditional inside sales, outside, all that stuff anymore, just because there's so little margin. It's become so cutthroat and commoditized. And in a lot of ways, I see the single location colo operator facing a lot of the same challenges that hosting businesses faced 10 years ago and that managed service providers went through 10 years ago. So you may be an operator that's in and around co-location. You may face a lot of the revenue and profitability challenges that I just mentioned, or perhaps you have something that's truly differentiated. Perhaps you're able to sell to more mid-market and enterprise clients where there's a lot more margin and you can afford to make the right kind of investments in growth. Or perhaps your company isn't even a data center. Maybe it's a hyperscale company, in which case you have huge deals. So this is all completely a moot point because you have plenty of resources to be able to invest in growth and differentiation and educating and building trust with the right people. And maybe your constraint is more on the development side or on the grid capacity side. Or perhaps you're not even an operator. Maybe you're a technology or facilities company, or you're in construction or real estate. But first, we need to understand, who are these sales supposed to be with? Who are the ideal clients that we're looking for more of? In other words, if I look at the case study section of your website, if I look at your testimonials and look at your reviews, does that represent who you want to sell more to? If it does, fantastic. Build your ideal client profile, get clarity on where they're located, their company size, their business models, their industries, build out your target account list, build out the buyer personas within those target accounts, and go nuts creating fantastic educational content and events so you can educate and build trust with the right people in the right places at the right time, and most of all in the right context. And that alone, executed well, will do wonders for increasing sales. But if I look at your case studies page and I talk with your salespeople, if I talk with your account managers and discover that there's 20% of clients that you're losing money on, that are terrible, miserable companies to work with, that cause extreme burnout and stress among your team members, and you really would have to like to have the luxury of phasing that segment out, well, you know that all revenue is not the same. So, okay, so let's assume that we're really clear on what kind of revenue we want next. And we have a lot of clarity on the ideal client profile, the buyer personas, the journey that we want to help guide those buyer personas through the 28 touch points between awareness to consideration decision. And we've also decided about what the appropriate mix is between direct and indirect, or channel partners. So in other words, you've also walked through deciding whether your company is using a mix of direct sales and indirect sales like channel partners, or whether you're 100% channel partner focused or 100% direct sales focused, or somewhere in the middle. After you've thought through those issues, how specific your ideal client profile is and the nature of your sales force, then also you want to think about, are you looking to increase net new sales, or are you looking to expand existing accounts and grow revenue from within existing accounts? Because that also dictates different people within your go-to-market team being involved. If we're talking about expanding different accounts, this is often going to be the domain of your CSMs, your client success, customer success managers, your account managers, often called AMs. It can often be those teams working with your marketing team to produce customer marketing that educates and builds trust at scale, that makes sure that the onboarding materials are as tight as possible, perhaps having some customer specific events, both offline events, could be breakfast seminars, lunch and learn, symposiums, customer only conferences, and virtual versions of those, webinars, online events, live streams just for clients. So you're getting super specific about a life cycle stage. They're already existing customers or clients. If you have a channel partner program, again, it's the same thing here. Is you're likely they're going to need their own separate partner enablement approach, and you're basically trying to decide: are you trying to get net new channel partners signed up and onboarded, or are you trying to help existing channel partners be more successful? Because each of them will have a different approach to growing channel partner sourced revenue. So at the end of the day, for a data center infrastructure service provider that wants to increase sales, that wants to increase revenue, the first thing is to recognize that all revenue is not created equal. Some of it's fantastic, some of it's terrible. Let's call it for what it is. So we need to make sure we're focusing on the right kind of revenue, the right go-to-market strategy. We get into being really tight about our ideal client profile, our target account list, our buyer personas. That drives having educational events, educational content, resources where we're spending so much time with our prioritized buyer personas throughout their buyer's journey that there's really no room left for our competitors to get a word in edgewise, because our buyer personas are getting everything that they need related to our category of infrastructure with no need to really look elsewhere. That guarantees that we're on the short list. In many cases, it collapses the short list down to one, where we're the only one left on the short list by the time they get to be in market at the decision stage. So clarity about who they are, their like company size, their location, their industries, clarity about their job roles, who's on the decision committee, who we need to be building these relationships with. Is this net new revenue? Is it the domain of your CSMs and AMs and a customer marketing initiative for expanding revenue? Or perhaps it's a channel partner initiative and you're trying to decide whether it's net new channel partners that you're after, or expanding, helping your channel partners to sell more and deeper into their existing accounts. So all of these are major, major considerations that I want you to think about to get a lot more specific about how you're going to increase sales for your data center infrastructure service provider business.